441 with Tasha Stevens. I'm Chris Summer, live at the Mercedes-Benz of Plano News Center. Defense attorneys for Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price wrapping up their version of how the evidence played out. KRLD's LP Phillips says the lawyer's not pulling punches in laying into the government's mistake-prone case.
The defense is claiming that for all the investigating and, as one put it, a Mount Kilimanjaro-sized pile of documents, there really is no evidence of a crime here. They say that bank statements are readily available to the FBI, but all those statements show is that there are memo lines on checks of loan and loan repayment, and they say there really is no evidence of a bribery scheme. The prosecution claims it has proven that Price spent 10 years stuffing his pockets, effectively doubling his paycheck by accepting bribes and steering county contracts.
And LP says the prosecution still has one more chance to sway the jury. North Texas attorney Chris Lewis has been following the Price trial closely. He spent years as a criminal prosecutor and is now a highly regarded defense attorney. He's on the KRLD Newsline to talk about the trial and today's developments. Mr. Lewis, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your overall observations in what you've seen in the John Wiley Price trial as an observer?
The overall observations of mine, and these were kind of laid out in closing arguments. I had a chance to be there today. The government has a mountain of evidence, and they have a lot of evidence against John Wiley Price that looks extremely suspicious. But I think that the defense has done a good job, especially today, of showing how, yes, these things are suspicious, but it doesn't necessarily amount to proof beyond a reasonable doubt that there was a conspiracy in place.
Do you believe this will be a drawn-out deliberation for this jury? How long do you think it'll take before we have a verdict?
You know, that's a tough call. I'm sitting here thinking that it's probably going to be a little bit drawn out. Just the court's charge, it took about 45 minutes for the judge to read. It's 22 pages long. There's 13 counts. So I think what the jury's going to do is they're going to sit there and they're going to go through each count individually and try to arrive at a verdict, a unanimous verdict with each count. And I think just by virtue of that, it's going to take quite a while.
Despite all the errors with the evidence, do you think the prosecution, the government, still has a shot in this case?
I do. You know, the errors are going to affect their credibility, and ultimately jury trials come down to credibility. But this is a case where there are so many questions that the defense has to answer. I watched the prosecution go through in painstaking detail over an hour's worth of closing arguments, just talking about suspicious transfers of money and payments for cars and insurance and land. And I think with all of that evidence, it definitely, regardless of all the mishaps, it gives the government a chance.
And we have 30 seconds left, but I'm anxious to ask you this. The jury in a long, drawn-out case like this, how exhausting has this been for them?
It's been unbelievably exhausting, not only because of how long it is, but just it was tough to pay attention just for a few hours today, and that's the way that the evidence has been presented. But still, I saw them engaged, taking notes, and I think that the jury's doing its job in this case.
Mr. Lewis, thanks so much for the time. That's North Texas defense attorney Chris Lewis.